Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world today. Today is the formula for success. And there's more to a formula than just giving you the answer or giving you the system. What we're going to do here in this tutorial is we are going to take you deep down. We're going to do what's called a deep dive. And we're going to look at what is causing the failure to start with? What is causing the system, the strategy, whatever you're working on? What is causing the success formula not to work or the philosophy not to work? So when you know and when you look closer at what is failed, what part of the system you're working on, what part of it failed, when you break everything down and you can look at what the cause of the failure is, don't you have a better understanding to come forward and say, oh, I know what happened. Now I won't do that again. I'll do this instead. So we're going to go over the three main reasons, the three top reasons why so many people fail at what they're working on and what they're trying to do. So number one is, and get a pen and paper for this, guys, because you know what? This is something you really need to take notes on. It's a lack of a well-defined objective for not being sure. If you're not sure that what you are endeavoring or trying to do is what you really want, if you're not crystal clear in yourself, in your mind's eye, that you want this, that you want to do this, and what it's going to give you when you get it, when you make this happen. If you are not crystal clear on what you want, then that is the biggest number one factor of not reaching the goal. Because if you're not clear for yourself in your mind, you're going to be the one creating your lifestyle. You're the one creating this goal to come to life. You are the one bringing this out. So in the event that you're not crystal clear and you're not sure of what you're doing, that you really want this, then you're not going to make it happen for you. So that's number one. So take a look at what you're doing, why you're doing it, and who you're doing it for. And also, how bad do you want to do this? This is a lot of work, so you got to be prepared. Whatever you're doing is going to take a lot of work. So that is number one. And this is the key, guys. If you don't have this one down pat, if you don't know exactly what you want to do, you're not going to find the success that you want. It's not going to come to fruition for you. Okay? Number two is, if you have a lack of consideration for the obstacles which might stand in your way, because you know there are going to be obstacles. There's going to be different things, different objects, different systems, different people, different blocks that come in your way for what you're trying to decide, what you really want them. So obstacles show up, and if you don't meet them head on, if you don't meet them and handle what it is in your path, you will fail. Because this is a part of lack of consideration for the obstacles. And I always state which might show up when reality has shown and given us the fact that they will show up. Because there's always something that jumps in our path when we're trying to create something. It jumps in our path and it's not taking us to where we want to go. It's not launching us forward. So when an obstacle steps in your way, my question for you is, what do you do? Do you walk around what's in your way, what's stopping you from getting to point B? Do you walk around it? Do you walk under it? Do you walk over it? Do you ignore it and hopefully it'll go away? That's a question only you can answer. And that is a question for you, because this is about what you're doing and how you're getting it and how it's all coming together for you. So in the event that you're not having a consideration in the plan, in the system that you're working on. If you don't have a consideration that there is going to be an obstacle, there may be more than one. There may be several, which might stand in your way. It might just stop you from where you're going. It might stop you dead in your tracks, and then you won't go on. You'll give up. If you give up, then that is a failure of not completing what you started to do. So look at that and look at it closely, because you have the ability to meet anything that comes your way head on and say, you know what? I can do this. Let me figure out what you are. Let me figure out what's going on. What is this in my way? I want to create XYZ, and this is getting me stopped from Y and Z. So what do I need to do? How do I need to deal with this? How do I need to stop this? Who has had this problem before that I can get advice from? Whatever it takes for you to combat what's standing in your way is what you need to do. And this is part 2. This is stage 2. This will stop a lot of people. They make it this far. A lot of people, as you know, you probably have friends out there or whatever, who are stopped because of this simple fact right there. And that's also, when you're in that fact where you have an obstacle or something standing in your way, you lose confidence in yourself. You lose the faith in yourself that you're doing this. You lose what you need to grow. You lose that because you're not believing that you can do this. So that is another thing. Look at what's stopping you and deal with it and go forward. Okay, number 3. I know these are hardcore, and a lot of people are going to tell me that this is too harsh, that they didn't want to hear this, they're going to unsubscribe from me. Whatever, I'm sorry if it hurt your feelings, but you know what? The fact is the more you know that this is what's happening, that this is what's causing the problem, the better you can deal with it head on and make the changes in your lifestyle, in your systems, what you're doing, your actions, your attitude. Make the changes you need. And this is why step 3 is so critical. You've made it to step 3. Now, a faulty action plan. What would you consider to be a faulty action plan? Okay, the plan hadn't taken into thought of the obstacles that may now show up. Therefore, the result was a failure. That is a faulty action plan. If you don't have a plan for what you're doing, if you don't have a plan set to what you want your end result to be, and it can be considered a goal, but when you're working on something like this, it's more of a plan than a goal. A goal could be the whole big picture, and then what you're working on in the middle is the plan of action. So if you have a faulty action plan, you're not preparing yourself to take the steps that you need. You're not preparing yourself. If you don't have the plan to reach the goal line, if you don't have the plan to deal with everything that's possible. And I know you're going to say, well, how do I know what's going to show up? How can I be prepared? Be prepared for whatever has shown up in the past. Be prepared for whatever has come your way and stopped you. Be prepared. You're going to meet it head on, and you're going to go forward. And you know what? It'll be so much easier and simpler because you already know what you're going to do. You already have the plan. You're not making the bad come to you. You're not making that happen. You are just preparing yourself for the results that you want to have, which is you want success. You're preparing for success. You are preparing for the end result to be in your favor. You are preparing for you to create and to grow. So suppose you took the steps and did the research and what it will take for you to implement your desires. Suppose you did that. Suppose you did the research first, and then You knew what your end result was. And then you knew how to create it. And now you are confident and you are feeling your success before you even get started. That is a huge win all around. So make a list of the probables and the obstacles that you have to cross, because you know what the obstacles are if you have done the research. You know what other people have faced and you know what other people have done. So you can combat what the obstacles are, because they're more than likely going to be the same obstacles crossing your path. So look at yourself as the investor in the product or system or income stream you're creating. What would the investor do? When you look at yourself as the investor, if you had an investor coming to you and saying, I'm going to finance the system you're doing, I'm going to finance this, what would the investor be looking at? What are the financials? What are the systems? What are the outcomes the investor would be looking at? Look at yourself as the investor. Is it a solid plan? Are you passionate about your plan? If not, it won't work. If you're not 100% passionate about what you're wanting to create, then you need to move on to something else that you are passionate about. Because if you're just creating something that is just what everybody else is doing, if you're just trying to create something that is working for one person and you say, oh, well, I can do that. Well, sure, yes, you can do that. But are you passionate about it? And are you willing to pull everything you have together? Are you willing to take on the obstacles? Are you willing to sacrifice your time? Are you willing to look at your lifestyle as your system that you're creating, as your strategy, as the investor? When you're willing to do this, when you're willing to take all the hits and to say, you know what, I screwed up on that. Now I'm moving forward, and that was okay. Now we're going to keep going. That is the sign of a true leader. That is the sign of someone who is creating and inventing for yourself, for your life, for your family, for whomever your why is. And if your why is not strong enough, it doesn't matter what success formula I give you, it won't work unless you want it to, and unless you're taking the steps, the action steps to make it happen. And that is the truth. So definitely take a look at your plan, take a look at what you're doing, take a look at what you're not doing, and take a look at how your plan is set up. Are you set up to fail? Are you set up to succeed? I want to see you succeed. And I look forward to hearing your comments, and I look forward to hearing your testimonials on what you've created and what you've done. So in the meantime, as you're setting this up, as you're going forward with this, subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. It's down here at the bottom. Ring that dinger bell so you can get notifications of when we come on. And also get on our newsletter, because there's more stuff coming out for you all the time. If you're on the newsletter, if everything is coming together for you there, then there's no way that you're not going to find that success, because it is there. So I also put a training up here for you. It's going to be up here or down here. I'm not sure where it's going to end up. Maybe both places. So YouTube's kind of funky that way. So definitely get on there. It is steps that will take you through and let social media help you. Okay? Get on there. I look forward to seeing you in there. I'm going to see if you logged into that or not. Okay? You need to do this. This part is really critical. Okay, I will talk to you later.